Hopefully, I can kill... I mean, I should be able to kill the Narset at the very least. Keeping them off of mana would be good. There's just no way that I can do that. Oh, sweet. Perfect. Okay, they did everything that we wanted them to. My fair citizens of Sodium City, we have Proctologist. Now, this is a new mono-white taxi type of deck, but it is revolving around the land destruction of Fall of the Thran and the exiling of their graveyard with Soul Guide Lantern. There's quite a few little synergies here and there with the deck, so that's what makes me worried that it's not going to be amazing, even though it turned out in testing, it turned out very good. I'm just not sure if it's going to be amazing because it might be trying to do too many things, and I'm just not... I'm not exactly sure. So, but all of these little tiny interactions that we'll go over are something to note. So Fall of the Thran is a 6-mana enchantment where when it comes into play, destroy all lands. And then the next 2 turns, each player returns 2 land cards from their graveyard to the battlefield. You do that for 2 more turns, which is really nice because you obviously want to recover your lands. This is the biggest key point is that it says destroy all lands. So if they are running indestructible lands, they can't be destroyed. So keep that in mind. But that is also why we are using a land called Cascading Cataracts. We're not using it for the ability like most people would use if they're using Golos or something that requires 5 colors. We're simply using it because it's indestructible, so it survives through the Fall of the Thrans. And we get the deck name from Strict Proctor. So Strict Proctor is a 2-mana 1/3 with flying, kind of shitty, but it still has a nice ass. But whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger, counter that ability unless its controller pays 2. This is really, really nice. It's a lot nicer than you think. So there's quite a few things that are enter the battlefield abilities. Anything like an Ixalan's Binding or a Seal Away, anything... whatever, a Pyromancer, I think the ones that when it comes into play deals 2 damage to your face, those things, all that stuff is countered unless they pay 2 colorless. It's very cool. Now the reason this is also very cool is because we're going to run Lotus Field, which is really tricky. So Lotus Field, it's hexproof, it enters battlefield tapped, but also when it enters battlefield, sacrifice 2 lands. And again, with Strict Proctor, it's whenever a permanent enters the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger. This doesn't specify opponents, so your Lotus Field will trigger an ability when it comes into play to sacrifice 2 lands. And this says counter that ability unless its controller pays 2. We don't want to sacrifice lands, so we're just not going to sacrifice 2, or we're just not going to pay 2 because we don't want to sacrifice 2. So turn 2, Strict Proctor, turn 3, Lotus Field. And it's just fantastic ramp, amazing. Being able to consistently and reliably use Lotus Field without having to be in red for Blood Sun is so amazing. So we're also running Gift of Estates. If we do not have Strict Proctor in the battlefield and we do need to play Lotus Field, what we're going to do is we're going to try to also have Gift of Estates in our hand. So Gift of Estates, 2-mana sorcery. If opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for up to 3 plains cards, reveal them, and put them in your hand. And again, if you're playing Lotus Field and you have to sacrifice 2 lands, you most likely have less lands than your opponent, right? Unless you are playing land destruction, then, it could change. However, in most cases, you will then have less. Then you can cast Gift of Estates, search your library for 3 plains, put them into your hand. And it's very, very good that way. And after we destroy all lands with Fall of the Thran, right? Of course, we need to have Soul Guide Lantern on the battlefield so that we can exile the opponent's graveyard. So Soul Guide Lantern, it's just a 1-mana artifact. When it comes into play, exile card from any graveyard. You can tap it, sacrifice it, exile each opponent's graveyard. This is just really, really nice. Once we blow up all lands with Fall of the Thran, we exile their graveyard. It's just kind of necessary, right? In the off chance we don't have a Fall of the Thran or we have 2 Soul Guide Lanterns, we can just pay 1 colorless, tap, sacrifice it to draw a card. So it's not a waste of card if it's in the deck and we have more than one of them. It doesn't necessarily feel bad. In the next 2 sagas, again on Fall of the Thran, each player returns 2 land cards from the graveyard to the battlefield. If at that time we've had more than 1 Lotus Field in the graveyard and we have a Strict Proctor on the battlefield, we can return 2 Lotus Fields to our battlefield and we don't have to sacrifice any lands because Strict Proctor is going to counter that ability to sack lands. And so we just go from 0 land to 6 land in 1 turn, which is just amazing. It's one of my favorite things to do with Fall of the Thran if you can actually execute it. Usually you can only do it with red when you incorporate Blood Sun. However, using Strict Proctor makes it possible in just white and possibly other colors if you want to go into that. So it's interesting. And we're also running a newer card called Teferi's Protection. Newer card. It's a 3 mana instant. Until your next turn, your life total can't change, and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out. So this is just amazing, period. It works as like a fog in mono green. Just you can't, nothing happens to you, right? But you cannot do anything after you cast this. So what's really good about this is later on in the game, if you have a ton of mana, you can cast Teferi's Protection, but you can float the rest of the mana and cast Fall of the Thran, which blows up all lands. However, since Teferi's Protection phased out all your permanents, it will not blow up your lands. So the next turn you will have all your lands and everything will be fine. And it's kind of similar to Ondu's Inversion, which destroys all non-land permanents. If somehow you have that much mana later on in the game, and it somehow dragged on that long, you can Teferi's Protection and then cast Ondu's Inversion. That's 9 mana. The chances of you being able to do that and needing to do that, very, very low, but it's a possibility. It's one of the things that are there. And again, you can always change around a lot of these cards. That's just a land, it's in the deck, so I can use it as an example. And one of the cards that I'm starting to really like is Wandering Archaic. It's a 5 mana 4/4 that whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2 colorless. If they don't, you may copy that spell and you choose new targets for the copy. So this is good against burn decks. This is good against big instant sorcery decks like ultimatum decks. This can be extremely good against. So it's, and it also stacks. It's not a legendary creature, so you can have more than one of these on the battlefield and it's still there. It is an MDFC, so you can cast it for its other side, which is just a 3 colorless mana sorcery. Each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library, reveals a land card and or an instant or sorcery card from among them, puts those cards revealed this way into their hand, the rest at the bottom of their library in a random order. Each player gains 3 life. So this is good for life gain, but also emergency card draw. Yes, you do also give it to your opponent. However, if you're destroying lands, their lands, not ours, it's not really that bad, right? But every time, this is surprisingly very, very good against control as well. So if somehow you're able to actually stick this on the battlefield, and then you try casting other things and they counter it, and they can't pay 2, so you have to copy their counter, obviously, and then you counter their counter with a copy of their counter that you countered, or that you copied because they didn't pay the tax to prevent you from copying their counter, right? So it's really cool, but it's not always there. And again, super late game, it's a lot less effective, especially when you don't have a Fall of the Thran. The thing is that if you have this on the board and then Fall of the Thran hits, no matter any type of recovery that they want to do, unless they're a only creature deck, like a creature only deck, they're going to give you free spells, which is just fantastic. And the other tax card that we are actually running is going to be Reidane, God of Worthy. It's a 3 mana 2/3 flying vigilance. It's also part of our win conditions. But snow lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped, which can be relevant for sure. And then non-creature spells your opponents cast with a converted mana cost 4 or greater cost 2 colorless more to cast. So this is really good again against control matchups because of the fact that all their board wipes are going to be 4 mana and higher. So forcing them to pay 6 for it instead is also very good. And then once you get to the point where you can also follow the Thran, putting them back to, 0 lands instead of 6 mana, Reidane can kind of just run away with the game at that point. Now, the other side of Reidane is Valkmira's Protector Shield, which is still one of my favorite cards. 4-mana artifact. If a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent 1 of that damage. So this is just amazing. It works against everything, obviously, except for Questing Beast and Stomp, which are very commonly used cards. But regardless, anything that has a ton of tokens, it's fantastic against. And then it has whenever you or another permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, counter that ability unless its controller pays 1. So it's kind of double dipping in the Proctor category, but it's still very good. And I believe the last little bit of synergy that we have in this deck currently is Settle the Wreckage. So Settle the Wreckage, 4-mana board wipe, exile all attacking creatures target player controls. That player may search his or her library for that many basic land cards, put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then they shuffle their library. So this is very good. It sucks for us if we have to do it for a big number early on. However, mid to late game, if we have to do this and it's on a ton of creatures, it's very good. If we can completely get rid of all the basic lands in their deck and then cast Fall of the Thran, that's amazing, because that means they cannot get any type of searching if they have Cultivate or whatever. The only thing they can do is get their dual lands, and that's if they haven't played any already. So it's really, really funny when you're able to do the Settle the Wreckage and the Fall Thran combo, but again, you have to be very, very cautious when using Settle the Wreckage, because obviously you don't want to just ramp people into their own Ugins or whatever it is. If you want to take this deck and build it at home, it's going to run you 44 rares and 3 mythics. Not that bad, right? So, but I will also say that this deck is the truth. Highly recommend playing it. It's very fun. It's got a lot of the new cards in it as well, but watch out for Teferi's Protection. It's a scary, scary card. I think I punted with it maybe 3 or 4 times. So keep that in mind. Probably would have won a lot of those games. I didn't even really lose, actually. I didn't lose very many games at all, but the ones that I did was usually because of Teferi's Protection punts, because I didn't understand exactly how the card worked. So learn from my mistakes. And if you want to see more mono white prison decks like this, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, bell notification, come out with videos 7 days a week. You don't want to miss a single one. And as for yesterday's comment question of the day, I asked you, what card do you like from the Mystical Archive most so far? Here are your answers. And if you want your comments featured in these videos, make sure you answer the comment question of the day every single day, 7 days a week in the comment section below. Stay salty and enjoy the games. I have no idea what to call this deck yet. It is mystery. Absolute mystery. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, this is a great hand. As long as they don't have discard, should be all right. I hate how the sound is backwards. It's so annoying. Hopefully my editor can fix that in post-production. So I want to be able to put this down and the Lotus on the same turn, because I don't want to risk them killing it, you know? Good. All right. Good value. So, do they kill that? Next question would be, okay, they do. It is a burn deck, so I kind of want to... I feel like I need to play that, though. I feel like I need to play this as a shield. Okay, so now they actually have to do some additional bolting.
Let me synthesize the facts.
Yeah. Okay, so they did get rid of a Drake. This. It's counterless. Okay, that's only doing 2 damage. Like, alright.
Cover my back, Rowan.
3, 4, 5, 6. Decline. And 3, 4, 5, 6. Exile their graveyard. That's fine. Hopefully. Not sure if that's a saw it coming or not. I'm hoping that it is. Or hoping that it isn't, I guess. Maybe? I feel like I'm getting slow rolled right now. I should not have my hopes up. Should not have my hopes up. Definitely getting slow rolled. Okay. It's good that they did that, and not my Soul Guide Lantern. Works for me. Yeah. So I will...
Let me synthesize the facts.
I'm gonna bring back that and that. Oh my god.
Cover my back, Rowan.
That's fine. I meant for both of those to be untapped, but didn't matter. This is basically a dead card at this point.
I enjoy the proper application of knowledge.
Some big shit. Makes sense. All right.
I think so.
This should be very good against their deck.
My answers lie in the cold truth.
It should be really, really good against their deck. So, especially right now, because they only have 2 mana. Yeah, they only have 2 mana. It's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be weird.
I love a good fight.
Needed that. Needed that. Proximum.
Plan is
No idea what that person's name is. It's actually a really good game. I thought we were gonna lose there for a minute. Cool. Easy game. Easy game. Yeah. That felt good. That felt good. Alright. Proctologist appointment, I guess. I like the Proctor. I like it a lot. I think there's other things that we can do with this style of deck. We don't need Follow the Thran, obviously. We don't need the Exile. We could take out the Soul Guide Lanterns and add in basically anything else. You know? Don't know what they're doing yet. Got it. Okay. It's bad. Bad-ish. We can't do anything about the combo. I don't have authority to the console. Ephemery is so good. Is that a sorcery? It's an instant too? Oh my god. Has a rebound. It's so cool. I want to do something with that card. I just have no idea what with. I don't know what to do with it yet though. Oh, 4-color? Okay. Alright. Not what I thought it was. So target creature you control, then return it. I'm just gonna do this for now. I don't really trust what they're gonna do. I mean, they're definitely doing some creature blinking nonsense. Oh, yeah, that's gonna be bad then, because they obviously have the Skyclave. Yep. Yep. Oh. It's quite unfortunate. We get to castle. What do they win with? Don't quite know what they win with. Yeah. Luckily we have settles. Assume they're gonna start taking infinite. I don't know what they're doing actually. The times I thought I've seen this deck, it doesn't run the Wall of Blossoms. Although, you know, the new set, I haven't seen a lot of these decks. So. We take one. We'll take one attack, and then we'll block the next one with both of them. 3, 4. Okay, so they have the same amount of lands as us. That means I don't want to play one. I want to make sure I actually get value out of this. I don't mind not playing a tap land if I can get 3 out of my hand next turn. Though it doesn't look like they are. bottom. I think, assuming they're looking for a land, maybe? One. Really? Swung into that. There's got to be a combat trick. Yep. Like, there's definitely something going on. I mean... I can actually do this. That forces... That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done before. Yeah, that would have forced my... That would have forced the gift to work. Regardless. So I could have added the... I could have just done that last turn.
Together, we'll create great things, you and I.
Create token that's copied target artifact or creature you control. Except it's an artifact?
Restoration is
It has a... Wait, what? I feel like I'm dead to walls. I can't risk it. Like, they can pay for it, you know? All right. So at least now we have Settle the Wreckage. Mana up. So I want to actually cast something. Because yeah, they could have definitely had just another Lightning Helix and killed my Wandering. Which I'm not about that life. Even though that's to any target, I would love to kill that Saheeli. But... it's not good.
Genius is as genius does.
Let's do that before the treasure gets made, so it doesn't get any like double mana out of it. Whatever they wanted to do with it. They can, in fact, cast stuff. One, two, three, four. 4 mana. They could just Wrath here, I guess. They're not casting spells, and it's sad. Because... do you think they actually Wrath? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It would suck if they did, but we can copy a lot of stuff. I haven't been able to use the Wandering Arcane, or Archaic. I have not really been able to use it at all. Like, I've been able to put it down, but like they stopped casting spells. They stopped casting spells. Yep. Unfortunate, but you know, it is a thing.
I like to think fast.
Damn it. Well, this just got really bad. Yeah, this just got bad. I didn't even get to draw a card out of that. I got no value.
All about the attention to detail.
Cataracts, nice. That's so bad. Nice. Well, I mean, we're like close to almost doing something. Got another Skyclave, that kind of sucks. I mean, they could just kill us with Saheeli, which is not good. Cool. Alright, so with this shield down, we don't take nearly as much damage from burn. We don't take any damage to the Saheeli. Oh, obviously, except for that.
I believe in innovation.
Duh.
I'm the best fire starter there is.
Wonderful.
Feel the burn.
Alright. Well, I mean, this is fine. They dumped a lot of investment. No way they... It's like, there's no way they saved that, right? Uh-huh. Okay. It did work really nicely. We have some power on the board. We now have card draw. We got rid of 3 of the Skyclaves. 3 or 4? 3. Lost? We won, I guess? Okay, Ondu's Intervention, or Ondu's Inversion. Never forget it. Never, ever forget it ever again. Never, ever, ever, ever. If you want to see me build and play all these decks live, then go ahead and make sure to follow me over at twitch.tv/StriderStone. I stream 5 days a week, every day except Monday and Thursday. Schedule in the description below. Alright, I mean, let's throw it in ranked. It's 5-2 in play mode. So, see how it does on ranked, shall we? I mean, all we need is 1 land, right? 1 land and we're fine. 1 land and we're fine. I actually really like Wandering Archaic. We just need a way to get it onto the battlefield earlier. this is also a really good matchup to have. I don't really want to play it because I'll remove it. It's a really good matchup to play, or matchup to have Gifted the Estates. Blah, 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 blah. So we just Proctor into a Lotus Field. They have a few options. Probably get Follow the Thran. Maybe the Archaic. Teferi Protection would be hilarious. Okay. Sure. We take those. Alright, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it dead?
Do you think he's dead?
I don't think it matters right now. See. Depends on what spells they're casting. Yeah, I'll gain 3 life. Sure. Sure, I'll draw a card. It's rough. I mean, they do get to bring a couple back, right? But it's still rough for them. Because anytime they try to cast a spell... Okay. All lands? It's funny. Really? They didn't take the Mazemind Tome? That sucks. They might have just killed themselves? Yeah, I was like, they can't cast anything else. That was a good game, though. That could have been very bad for either of us very quickly. That Fall of the Thran was brutal. So they could have probably done something with that, but it's just a Sultai Citadel, something like that. I mean, let's keep at it. As long as we keep doing that, this will do just fine. Yeah, the reason we have Cataracts is really just there for when we follow the Thran. They're indestructible, so it won't actually destroy any of our lands. Okay. I think I only have Settles. Yeah, I only have Settles in here. So that could be dangerous. Beautiful. Yeah, Proctor is gonna be amazing here because it stops all their like fucking things for doing anything. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the option to not do that. Don't need that. They're smart about it. They don't want to swing into Settle. Obviously, 'cause who does? Kind of like debated them into doing that. See, I would love this. If I do that, I'm dead. Right? Yeah, I don't think there's anything I can do here. I think I die regardless. Even if I block one creature, I'm still dead. 2, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, still dead. I guess I did need to settle the last turn just to save 4 life. Yeah. So I would have saved 4 life, and then I would have proctored. Yeah, then proctored and done that. Yeah. Might have been able to survive. Would have had 2 lands. Actually, not sure. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Proctor into Lotus. I like it. It's hard to say no to that. It's a great combo. It's the new mono white ramp, or rather, you can use Lotus Field without having to run Blood Sun, and you can still kind of feel good about it. So, Strict Prospector or Proctor, sorry, Proctor, the Proctologist is a whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger. I don't like what they're doing. Counter that ability unless its controller pays 2. So when Lotus Field comes into the battlefield, it comes into the battlefield tapped. And you have to sacrifice 2 lands. So that's the ability. You have to sacrifice 2 lands. So Strict Prospector, again, permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability, includes Lotus Field. Lotus Field's like, yo, dog, sacrifice 2 lands. Strict Proctor is like, you're gonna have to pay me 2. And I'm like, nah, dog. And so just gives me a Lotus Field. It's fantastic. I would also recommend only using this on turn 3 if you can. So put it on turn 3 and then play your Lotus. This prevents them from using a burn spell or something. Some way to kill it when you don't want them to kill it, because you want to be able to actually play your land. So if on turn 2 you play it and then it's their turn, they can just kill it, right? So if you play it and then play your land, like I just did, they can't react to it. So unless they have counter spells, obviously, but that's awesome. Well, technically, I guess if the ability goes on the stack, yeah, then this ability is still on the stack. Yeah, exactly. So just make sure you do it on turn 3 if you can avoid it, unless you know that they don't have any kind of removal, right? The redemption. Come on, the redemption. Redemption has got to happen. Oh, that last game was embarrassing. Oh, no. Yep. I was like, oh, I wish I had a settle. Bottom the land that I needed. Opponent goes first. Okay, we like that. We do like that. And Lotus Field can also get us set up for a Gift of Estates. I actually really like this card. Oh, and a Proctor? Wow. Okay, so we have a Proctologist and a Lotus Field. Which is ridiculous. Like, there's no way they counter this, right? It is Azorius, you know? So you never know what they're gonna... Maybe they're like, I don't know what they're doing with this. What are they doing? No. Okay, so they didn't counter it. They could, like, I guess Brazen Borrow it next turn. It's only 1/3. I don't know if they care too much. Like, they'll probably play Narset or something. Please don't bounce it. Okay, so they... Alright, they vetoed that. Really, probably just should have, you know, Approach to the Second Sun. A better win condition, probably. So they do Teferi. Question now is, do they have a counter spell?
Good question.
This is a big hit. 5 lands away from a control deck is pretty huge. All right, cool. All right. Graveyards have been exiled. Ooh, they could tuck. Oh, if they tucked it, they should have tucked my Follow the Thran. But now I get like a fuck ton of mana back. Yeah.
Plan B. As soon as I think of one.
Okay, so Wandering Archaic is really good here. Chances of us sticking it? Not likely. Okay, maybe it's likely. Maybe it's likely. No, it's not. I was like, maybe they're only holding up mana for a veto. It could be, could have been a saw it coming. But I was betting on a veto because they showed a veto.
Let you win.
I think they have the -3, the arcade, you know? Okay. They have a board wipe? I don't know what they have. Ah. They forgot to read. Did in fact forgot to read. Oh. Then bump my mouse, I guess. Just skipped attacks. Yeah.
We need to move quickly.
I mean, they had a seal away. They had a seal away. I knew it. They had a seal away. So fucked. They have a goddamn wrath. Son of a bitch. Yeah. Yeah.
No one is more prepared than me. I have just the trick for this.
Motherfucker. Oh, wonderful. It's a time wipe. Wonderful. A fucking time wipe. All right. So basically, they have to have a veto. Okay.
Want me to phase you out of time?
That's 2, 4, 5. Alright. Well. Let's try something. Right? Gotta try something.
Keep an open mind.
Hopefully, I can kill... I mean, I should be able to kill the Narsa at the very least. Keeping them off of mana would be good. There's just no way that I can do that. Oh, sweet. Perfect. Okay, they did everything that we wanted them to.
You are a mighty warrior.
Yeah, that's good. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I mean, if they opt, we get the opt. Which is great. We essentially have to keep them off 5 mana. That was a ridiculous match. I can't believe we actually won that. After they punted with the fucking Banishing Light, and then I just basically gave them an extra turn. I was like, yeah, just fucking whatever. I gave him a homie turn. Ugh. At the end of the day, this deck went 5-3 in ranked. However, it did also go 5-2 in play mode. However, the 2 losses that we got were before we had the finalized version of the list that we have now. So in play mode, it went 5-0. And then in ranked, it went 5-3. The worst matchups were by far mono green elves. Don't know why. And then mono red burn is also going to be just an issue in general. However, we have a lot of ways to deal with it. Maybe not a lot, but we definitely have ways to deal with it. It's just not, it's not consistent enough. So if you don't get your Reidane in time for mono red burn, if you don't get your Settle the Wreckages against the mono green elves, it just becomes a problem as far as they will kill you on turn 4 if you do not have the answer. And that's just the problem. Other than those 2 decks, every matchup seemed pretty favorable. There was a couple of them that were really close. However, like I said, the majority of them were favorable matchups, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it to this point, it means you either really enjoyed the video or you fell asleep and I'm waking you up now. Either way, thank you for all the support. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, come out with videos 7 days a week.